everybody, and welcome to another episode, which I didn't check, of the This Old Knit podcast. I am your host, Nina, otherwise known as Ine, on Ravelry, Instagram, and Pinterest. And as always, you can find show notes for this episode and all previous episodes on this corresponding numbered thread of the This Old Knit Ravelry group. So thank you guys for joining me. It's been, I think 3 weeks, maybe a month since I podcast last. I was going to podcast last weekend, but I actually was really sick, and so I had to push it off until this weekend. But I am here now and I am feeling better. So thank you to all new viewers for joining me, and thank you to all returning viewers for coming back. So I have a lot to share this week. I do not have any FOs. No, I don't have any FOs, but I have a lot of whips. And I have some acquisitions, and I have, I won a prize that came, and some just general life stuff. So let's get started. So I have been very into the sweaters, as you all know, and I've been working on 3 sweaters actively, and then one sweater I picked up again kind of from hibernation. So that one, ooh, there's an acquisition over there. Okay. That one I did not bring to show because I had to rip it back, but it's the Sea Glass top by Megan Reagan, I think is her last name. The dyer behind Bad Wolf Girl Studios and the host behind the Bad Wolf Girl Sits and Knits podcast. So Meg came out with this pattern, I think in the fall time frame, and I was a test knitter, but I wanted to add sleeves to it. So it's a racerback tee, and she said she was going to do like an add-on a little bit later for sleeves. And I was doing mine with 3 colors to make a fade version of it, but I was afraid that if I stopped my first color too late, I wouldn't have enough to do the sleeve caps. So I said, okay, I'm going to put it on hold and, you know, just wait until that sleeve errata comes out, and then I would test knit that for her. So she just sent that to me beginning of this week. I tried it the first time and I just didn't understand the instructions properly. So she was nice enough to make like some videos with drawings and diagrams, and that really helped. So I ripped everything back, I restarted, but I didn't like how I picked up the stitches on the arm hole. It had like big gaps where I picked them up. So I need to go back and try it again to make sure that I don't end up with just like a row of eyelets along the sleeve cap, because that definitely is not what I'm going for. So like I said, I don't have that one with you to share, but look for it soon. And I'm actually recording on my new phone. So I finally bit the bullet and got a new phone. It's a Samsung Galaxy Note 9, I believe. I had a Samsung Galaxy S6 before, and it was about 5 years old, and the GPS didn't work anymore. So when I went to Vogue Knitting Live, it was very challenging. Often it was telling me I was in the middle of the ocean when I was walking down a city block, and it made it really hard for me to navigate my way around. So I'd have to like look things up and then just look at the map and figure it out myself, which is fine. Obviously, I grew up reading maps. We didn't have GPS, but definitely when you're driving, it's very helpful to have the step-by-step instructions. And there were a couple of other things that were starting to not work on my phone. So the camera is much nicer on this new phone than my last one. I feel like I'm not facing you straight. So I'm still exploring it and figuring everything out. My husband and I figured out last night that the microphone is actually on the top of the phone instead of the bottom of the phone. So when I was trying to talk to him on speakerphone when I was driving, I was actually not talking into the microphone and I was covering it up with the seat. Things you learn. So let me show you kind of in whatever order the sweaters are, what sweaters I've been working on. So the first one in my bag from Kristen of Bull and Vine, for those who don't know. I think last time when I was podcasting, I shared like the big, huge, ginormous bin of yarn that I received as a gift. And in that, there was a whole pack of spin cycle yarns. It was their worsted base, and I don't remember what the name of it is. But I said that I was going to knit a throwback cardigan. And I was going to pair that with some very old Frog Tree Merino worsted that I had received as a birthday gift from my mom. I think Meglin was like 5, maybe 6 at the time. I don't remember if Joshua was born yet or not. But I've had it in my stash for a really long time. So I think there's like 12 or 14 skeins. Okay, that's nice. So I knit a gauge swatch. Is she playing outside right now? This is my gauge swatch, and if I don't know what size needles I'm going to use, I put little pearl bumps, the same amount as the needle size number that I'm using. Oh, there's an autofocus. This is going to be fun. So I really like the fabric this was giving me. And I believe I'm knitting the size 40. Look. I'm looking for the picture. The 43 is what I'm knitting, size 43. So for those not familiar, the throwback is a pattern by Andrea Mowry, and it is an open front cardigan with color work on the yoke. It calls for 3 different colors, and then the rest of it, you know, is plain. So this is my main color, is this chocolate brown. And then I chose 3 colors of the spin cycle. So I picked this yellow, wow, that is really back and forth. This blue with some gold in it. And there's like a red color with mint, and oh my god, these balls of yarn are a mess. Yeah. So red with mints and oranges and a little bit of that blue. So those are my 3 colors. Wow, I haven't ever had a camera that would autofocus like that. It's amazing. So I don't have a ton done so far, but it's top down. So this is what I have. So I've completed that first bit of color work, and I really like how these colors are working up together. So I think I was using a size 7 on the main body, and then I went up a needle size for the color work. I actually watched Kristen's tutorial on knitting color work flat, and it was pretty helpful for figuring out how to do my floats. So I actually messed up a little bit with the color dominance for this row. And I figured out that I need to reverse how I'm holding the yarn. So your non-dominant color is in your hand you normally would do your contrast color in, because I do two-handed color work. So I just had to wrap my brain around that. And I Norwegian purl, so I had to figure out where to hold the yarn I wasn't working. It's going to be super fun when I have like 3 colors at a time. And on this, I have my very favorite, let's see if I can get it to focus now, because I've never been able to get it to focus on this. Yeah, my favorite Little Bitty Delights ever Progress Keeper, because it matches this yarn so perfectly. But it's this cupcake with teeny tiny peppermint discs, peppermint sticks, gumdrops. I mean, that is just artistry right there. Amanda, I don't know how you do it. but you are amazing. So that's what I have going on my throwback, and I love it so far. It's working up pretty quick because of those big needles. And I believe I've just, you know, that's how much of one ball I've used so far. There's not a lot of yardage per ball of yarn in the frog tree, but that's fine. I know I have enough, and I'm so happy to be using up old stash. So that is sweater number 1. Sweater number 2 in my Harry Potter bag I sewed, and this kind of needs to be washed because it's looking a little grungy, so I won't hold it too close. Come back to me, camera. Come back to me. Okay. Are you recording? Yes. Okay. So in this bag, I have my little cabin sweater by Boylan Knitworks, or Caitlin Hunter. So I am almost done with this. I'm so excited that I'm almost done. So here's my 2 sleeves. So what I did is, I did not work them concurrently. I actually worked the full, all the way up to where the bobbles ended separately. And then on the main body of the sweater, which I'll show you in a second, I didn't want to have the bobble portion over the bust part of the sweater, so I switched to garter stitch a little bit sooner, and I also didn't want to do the one line of teeny bobbles that's kind of along the chest line. I just wanted to transition into garter. So I did that on the, I'll just show you. This is going to make more sense if I do it that way. So I did that on the body of the sweater, and I also increased up to the next size for the stitch count, because the body of the sweater fit me, but it was, I blocked it, I washed it and blocked it, and it actually is measuring like a size smaller. So something must have happened between my gauge swatch and the actual knitting, but that's fine. So all I did is I worked a plain row, and I increased along that plain row evenly around to get up to the next stitch count, so the next size up for the stitches I should have on the needle. And then I went up a needle size the next round where I started the garter. So that gave me lots of room for the bust. So it's almost like bust increases, but you know, I did part of it through increases and part of it through needle sizing. So this ends just below where my bust starts, and then, you know, it increases up, and then it's loose for the going over the fullest part of my bust, and then I went back down to the former stitch count and down to the normal needle size. Our neighbor came over to play with the other kids. And it's snowing outside and they don't want to play outside. Anyway. So this part's done. And then I wanted to make sure the sleeves matched. So I knit them up to roughly the same place. Like when I hold my arm down. So the same part of where it's going to hit, you know, on the body. And then that way, when I join the sleeves to the body, it will basically line up. I hope. We'll see. This is actually longer than I anticipated as well, because of it not really fitting the other, not fitting part of my bust. So, yeah, it's a really tunicky length sweater, so it completely covers my butt. But yeah, I'm very excited about this one. It's going to be so warm and cozy. I'm sorry, you're going to hear Joshua whining and crying because his playing with the girls, and sometimes they don't let him do what he wants to do, and that's very frustrating when you're 4. On it, I have a pair of, I have some stitch markers that I got in one of Kristen's and my birthday swaps. I think it was maybe 2 years ago, but these are from One Geek to Craft Them All. So it's a series of sparkly stitch markers, and then this one has a little cloud on it. And I have a sparkle gnome from HHK. Oh my God. She's gonna have an update today too. Anyway, there's my little glittery gnome, my autumnal gnome. It'll come to me later. And then I'll say it randomly, or I'll put it across the screen right now. So that is my little cabin sweater by Caitlin Hunter. The yarn that I'm using is Blue Sky Alpaca Surrey Merino. And it is in a silver color. I don't believe it's dyed. I have had it since 2010. So it is 9-year-old stash. So very, very deep stash. And I think I'm basically going to use all of it. Oh, there's the tag. So it is Blue Sky Surrey Merino, and it is, you know, hand wash, so it's non-super wash. There's 164 yards per hank, 60% baby Surrey, and 40% merino. Super soft, and it has a very nice halo, but not, you know, not crazy. This is going to be just a staple in my winter wardrobe. So cozy. It's pillowy and soft, and it smells good because I washed it in Chai Spice Tuft Woolens. Speaking of, I need to put in an order because I'm almost done. Okay. Doesn't want to go in the bag. It's got a million needles on it. I think I have like that much sleeve left before I get to join it with the body. And then this part is all garter, you know, just like up. So that is sweater number 2. And then sweater number 3 is a test knit. I'll see, I have fuzz on me. A test knit that I'm doing for Sally Jane, who's Pink Hair Girl Knits, and she has the Pink Hair Girl podcast. And she designed a top-down, in the round raglan sweater. She knit hers in like a gradient stack, which I've never seen before. Let's see what she knit hers in. A color spun gradient stack, which is kind of cool. An ombre yarn stack. So she used 2 of them, and then she kind of went the opposite direction with each one. So the pattern is called As You Like It, and I said it's probably going to take me at least a month to knit it, and she said that was fine. So I chose my colors, and these should look familiar to you guys because I talked about them on a previous podcast. So I'm using this one, and this is from my Antland stash. So this was what kind of started this color combo in my head. I don't know what this is as far as a base goes. I remember it has well over 500 yards in the skein though, which is very generous for a, you know, sock weight yarn. It was an indie dyed yarn, and I think she bought it at the yarn festival because it had like a handwritten tag on it. Then I have a skein of Malabrigo sock in the brick colorway, And this one I've had in my stash since 2006. It was a gift from my friend Kara in the Bay Area. And then a skein of harpsichord, which is Volan Vine yarns, and this is in her Volca base. This, she doesn't dye this colorway anymore because the dye that she used is discontinued. But look at that gold. It just, it's like, it glows. It's so pretty. And then the last one I'm using is a colorway that Kristen came up with last year, I think at the Halloween time frame, and it is called Pumpkin Kombucha, and she gifted me a skein at Rhinebeck when we met up. So again, that very luminous color. She doesn't do oranges often, but when she does, man. Pow, in your face, orange. This reminds me of like Gigi made it. Her signature colorway is orange. This is probably a little bit goldy toned for her. She likes those pretty bright oranges, but still makes me think of her. So let me see if I can hold up all four of them together because so I think this one just really ties them all in. So it has speckles of the red, the orange, the gold, and then it also has this teal color. So I'm gonna stripe all of these with interspersed stripes of the brown all the way through. So that's gonna be like the unifying thing. So it'll be a stripe of red, stripe of brown, stripe of orange, stripe of brown, stripe of yellow, stripe of brown. And I may or may not do the edgings, the collar and cuffs in brown, or I may do them in whatever the stripe is that I'm ending with for that. I don't know. I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do. But I started with the red because that's just what I did. So I'm going to put these back in my pumpkin bag. This is a bag I sewed for myself. And so I am at the part where I'm working back and forth before I join in the round. I think I have just a couple more iterations of this before I'm going to be joining it, because it has sort of a crew neck very much like this. And this is actually something I forgot to show, but this was a little stitch marker I picked up at Vogue Knitting Live in the Ritual Dyes booth, and I forgot to get a card of the person who is the maker behind these, but they have like gemstones or crystals, and they're this beautiful copper. They're really pretty, and I loved this one. I think it's jadeite is that stone, but I've been using it on everything, on, you know, whatever projects that I need a marker on, I've been throwing it on there. A little pricey, but you know, it's a handmade item and it's really pretty. And then this is a birthday cake progress keeper that my mom gave me for my birthday a couple years ago from Sucre Sucre Miniatures, and it's like a funfetti cake. Or a cherry chip cake. Cherry chip. So that is my As You Like It sweater test knit. And I'm honestly trying to finish up my little cabin, or at least get it all joined in the round. And then I will go back to working on this. I have some travel coming up for work, but I have to drive. So I won't have like travel knitting time. But once I get there, maybe I can knit in the hotel. So that is all of my sweaters that I'm working on. And then, oh, I forgot to put my pattern in there. Okay, I'll do that next. Then I'm also doing a test knit which it's pretty much done because I think she's releasing or has released the pattern for Amanda, who is the maker behind the Little Bitty Delights Progress Keepers, of which I have many. She is also designing things now, so I believe she has several designs out, but she designed a pair of socks that are Gilmore Girls themed, and I think I might have showed these on the last podcast that I had restarted them, but I finished the first sock. So they are called The Whole World Changes Color, and they have snowflakes all over the leg, and then they have a set of snowflakes that, you know, imitates falling snow going down the front. So I knit my pair out of the Yarn at Home Mom Basic. I think it's called Basic. I can't get to one. This is all my Yarn at Home Mom yarn. Well, it's not all of it because it won't fit in one basket anymore, but it's a lot of it. But they're all really packed in there, so I can't pull one out to show you the label. But it is in the You Made Me a Santa Burger colorway, which was from my Gilmore Girls club. And I held it double with a skein of Ritual Dyes mohair, like silk mohair, in Ginger Snap, the Ginger Root, in the Ginger Root colorway. So it had the same kind of speckles as in the main yarn, those kind of pickle juicy type speckles and a little bit of red. So it just worked perfectly with this yarn. Way better than the red I was holding double with it before. And I really love this sock. So I went and took a picture of it outside yesterday when it was snowing. And it was really cool because the snowflakes were actually being suspended in the mohair halo. So I know they're going to be super warm when I finish them. So I at least finished the first sock, and hopefully I gave useful feedback to Amanda along the way. And the second one is just, you know, knitted the same as the first. So I did enough for her to, she had asked just that we have one completed. And so I finished one. I will cast on the other one, but right now, like I said, I'm trying to finish up sweaters. So that is my The Whole World Changes Color socks by Amanda J Designs. And it's knit out of the Yarn at Home Mom and Ritual Dyes yarn. And then the last thing was a new, no, I got two things. Okay, the next thing was a new cast on, and I didn't get very far on it, but I was having kind of a rough work week this week. So I cast on some socks out of Felice yarn, and part of the reason for that too is that I have a lot of Felice, so I do want to start like trying to have some Felice socks on the needles, and I had two pairs that developed holes of my socks, not Felice socks, but other ones, so I kind of need to replace those. So I'm just going to knit these as basic vanilla socks, but this is the Time Traveler colorway, which was one from a couple iterations ago, but I really loved it. And that's all I have, so I don't really have very much going on those yet. And then the last whip that I've worked on is actually stuck. I don't know how I even managed to do that. I think it's the ball of yarn. This thing is like ridiculous. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to untangle it enough to show you. Oh my god. Podcaster fail. Alright. Just gonna go with it. Try to go with it. It is my northeasterly blanket. Okay, so when I was really sick, I didn't even feel like knitting at all. And that's how I knew I was really sick. And it was like a stomach virus. So I haven't vomited since I was pregnant with Joshua. And it was just a so fun reminder of how terrible that was. So it started with the kids and worked its way through all of us. So everyone got sick, even Josh, and he never ever gets sick. So it was, you know, it's bad when he gets sick. So when I finally did feel like knitting, this is the only thing that I could mentally handle knitting on because I was so weak. So I've been working on the yellow stripe. And the colors I've put in there, I don't even know what they are. I've got some golds. This one and this one I received in the big bag of mini skeins that came with that very large tub of yarn. This one is from my friend Jessica. She usually sends me like little balls of leftovers from socks, and I love that. So this one's giraffe, which is so cool. It looks absolutely like giraffe spots. This one is butterbeer, and I just had a tiny bit of that one left. And then this one I used in my Hufflepuff socks. So that's the leftovers from that. It is, I believe, a fiber optics yarn, Mellow Grello, but it's definitely Hufflepuff colors. And then I added on to the green. So these are like Slytherin colors. I don't know what this one is. This one is Moroccan Mint that I got a long time ago. I think in the very first swap that Kristen and I did with each other. She sent me some leftovers of skein yarn from a pair of socks she did. And this is my first time knitting with skein yarn. So it's really pretty. It's next to some Pond from Barenvola. And then I added on some more Gilmore Girls yarn. This one is just a little bit of, it's either Winter Wonderland or Eddie Griswold. It's a No Makers like mini skein from the winter, Christmas collection. But I didn't have a lot of it left because I used some for Hexie Puffs. And then this is just like a plain blue. I believe I got this from Anna Knitter in our Christmas swap. And then I had started this really pretty purple and pink one again from Anna Knitter. I've not woven in ends, so I'm not going to show you the back of it, but this yellow stripe is just making me so happy. It's so happy. So for those just joining me, I'm doing mine in rainbow order, so I'm just trying to keep color families together. Some blues, greens, yellows, then I'll do oranges, reds. I'll probably have a pink stripe, and then a white stripe, a black stripe. I haven't decided if I have enough browns to do that. Then I'll do a rainbows because I have a lot of yarn that's rainbow colors. And then I'll start over with purples and work my way through it again. So that's the thought. And then, I'm just going to add to it as I can. So I just sorted through all of the current mini skeins that I have and grouped them by colors. So I'd be able to just grab and go. So right now I have all of the stuff I'm working with in this bag that I got from Cheryl Can. She brought it to me at Rhinebeck, and it says proudly Canadian. I love it. And it's a cow dressed like in a Free Gables. And then inside of it, I have my Sparkles the Unicorn Knit Picks bag. This was holding all my greens and blues, and then I decided I'm sick and I'm gonna knit yellow because yellow makes me happy. So the yellows are just down in there. So that, boys and girls, is my last book. So yeah, I will move on to acquisitions. So the first one is the thing I'm wearing. It is a t-shirt from Snorg Tees, and it is a nerdy shirt. I got 2 of them, and I love them. So here it is. And it says distance raptor divided by time raptor equals velociraptor. So hilarious. I love a good pun. So those came today, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna wear it and I'm gonna go and podcast. Then Shannon, the dyer behind the Yarn at Home Mom, destashed some more stuff, which I already bought a bunch of stuff in her last destash, but she found some more things that she wanted to sell, and so I couldn't pass these up. So it's a sweater's quantity on her shimmer base, and it's an unnamed colorway, but it's a very beautiful teal color. Oh, it's gonna be such a pretty sweater. Yeah. It's just a really subtle, shimmery, glittery thing, and I love it. And then she included in the package as a surprise for me, if you will recall, I purchased these in her last, and they are in the Kinky Boots colorway. So it is a red on her shimmer base, because red from Kinky Boots. And she said she actually dyed mohair to go with it last. She was going to make a sweater for herself with these, and you know, once she got rid of these, she's like, well, they should stay together because I dyed them together and they were meant to go together. So now I can make something with mohair with this beautiful yarn. Oh my god. So it's going to be fuzzy and red. Oh my gosh. So thank you. Thank you so much, Shannon. That was a beautiful surprise, and I really, really appreciate it, and I promise I will make them something gorgeous. I was thinking the Poet Pullover, and I think that still might work because it calls for tuku wool, which is a very thick fingering weight. I would say it's really like a sport weight. So I think the shimmer base, glitter yarns in general tend to be a little bit thinner, has been my experience. So I think this plus this held together will actually be really nice, and having that little bit of mohair will make up for the all over lace. So I still will be able to wear it at Christmas time and be cozy and warm. So that is still my plan. I'm gonna swatch and see if it works. If not, I will figure something out. Maybe I will just do a normal top-down raglan with you know, mohair and beautiful sparkles. Random, but I have been on the lookout for a pink fade, and for those who follow me on Instagram, I actually already posted this, but I was putting away some of the yarn that I received in the beautiful package, and I had these three colors that I wanted to knit together into a fade. I already had all of these in my stash. So this one was from the Impressionist MCal kit that Kristen dyed. So it is the colorway Curious. This one is her Woolen Vine number 9. And this one is Vixen from the Lost Reindeer Club this year. But I needed 4 for a fade. 3 really isn't enough if I want to do a full long sleeved sweater. I just wanted 4, and I couldn't find anything that went with these until this. It's like my missing link, guys. Look at that. So this is now going to be my beautiful pinky mauvey fade, and I'm so excited. So this one is Crazy Purple Bouquet, and it was one of a kind, very old Woolen Vine because it still has the hangy tags. It's beautiful. And they're all on sparkle base. So they're even on the same bases. I love it. I'm so excited about that. So that is definitely going to go on my needles really soon. Probably after I finish one of the sweaters that I'm knitting. Yeah, Little Cabin will be done soon, so probably after that. And then knit picks. had their Felici on sale because they were, you know, discontinuing this round of colors. And they had got more spooky, which I had wanted to get this one. Originally, they had a lot of holiday colors, and then they stopped, you know, making Felici for a long time. And when they came back, they were not doing colors that were holiday themed. But this is the first one they brought back. So it is, you know, obviously Halloween, but like candy corn colors. So I got 2 of each of these. So that one, this one is called 8-Bit. This one is Material Girl. Lots of 80s theme. Baker Street, because I didn't have any of that, and they said it was going to be discontinued. This one has been around for a while, but I love Sherlock Holmes. And then this one is called Firefighter, but I thought it would be really good for socks for Joshua, because it's not, I mean, Felici's not itchy at all, and he loves firemen. So those are my colors that I got. And then I mentioned I won a prize, so I won one of the quarterly prizes for the Harry Potter blanket along that is being co-hosted by Shauna from the Adelaide Cottage podcast and Jilly from the Knitting Broomstick podcast. So I won one of Shauna's sock blanks. So here it is. I've never knit from a sock blank before, so that'll be really fun. This one is called Bertie Botts. And it also included a box of Bertie Botts every flavored beans, which the kids ate. They sounded gross. It was funny, though, to watch them being like, oh, vomit! They actually didn't mind the vomit bean. The soap was the one that they said was really gross. Soap and grass. But all the rest of them, they said were fine. I ate the pepper, the cinnamon, and cherry. I didn't want to try any of the gross flavors. But yeah, it's really cool. That'll make a super fun pair of socks. So thank you, Shauna and Jilly, for the prize. And then for my birthday, my sister sent me the newest copy of Lane magazine. So thank you, Missy, for my Lane magazine copy. It actually came like when I was super sick, so it was nice to have something to look at while I was laying in bed. And I'm really excited about the sweater that was designed by Lerka, I think Lerka, from Grief. She's the host of a podcast, and I watch it all the time. But, you know, I'm like a subscriber, so like I remember what it's called. I will link it in the show notes, though, because it's a really very sweet podcast, and she's very nice, and she has a lot of classic designs. So it's called Nerea, and it's got this cable that goes along the sleeve, up around the neckline, and then back down the other side. And then I believe it's along the bottom as well. No, the bottom just has seat stitch, but it's really pretty. And also these mitts called Davi. I love those. They're like cables, but they have some color work kind of hidden inside of the little indentations. Those are really pretty. Yeah, so I haven't had a chance to really read that much in it yet, but it's a really nice issue. Oh, and the shawl. Oh my gosh, that shawl is pretty. So that's my birthday magazine. And then I bought a couple of patterns. This one actually I've had for a long time, but I remembered I had it, and so I want to knit it. So I reprinted it out. It's the Julissa Scoop Neck by Vanessa Smith. And she has just beautiful designs. So if you've never checked out Vanessa Smith, you totally should. They're usually fitted and just gorgeous. So this one has, this picture is terrible. It has a main cable down the front and like lace eyelets on either side of it. So I have a couple of different sweater quantities of Madelinetosh from my Aunt Lynn's stash that I think might work for this. That's a reasonable picture right there. And that would really just, you know, it fits my style. So I want to swatch for that too. I'm trying to have like a fingering weight sweater and a worsted weight sweater on the needles at all times so I can start cycling through my sweater quantities. I also printed out Harlow. Well, I actually bought Harlow. I didn't own it. I had yarn for it because I bought Spin Cycle yarn for it at Indian Tangle. So now I own the pattern to knit it. And I think Andrea Mowry was having a pattern sale because she was in the hospital. So I think, you know, she was trying to raise some money to help pay hospital bills. So I definitely jumped on that and bought some stuff. Whatever of her patterns I didn't already own. And I got the With the Fates shawl pattern also. So I think that'll be fun to knit. And I think this might be fun to use some of my leftovers from my various Full and Vine projects, plus some of the vintage skeins that I got to make just this big, gorgeous, yummy brioche shawl. So those are my plans. That's everything that I'm knitting, everything that I got except for the skein I'm gonna go get. This was the other skein that I purchased, and it is called Rainbow Dash. For the My Little Pony fans among us, you will recognize that that is one of the My Little Ponies. She is this color of blue with a rainbow cutie mark and a rainbow mane. And she's a Pegasus, so she flies and she's fast. So, Rainbow Dash. I think this is going to be a hat because it's way too fun to just put in my shoes. So that's that. And then as far as goings on, I've mentioned already that we were all sick. So that was last weekend. The weekend before that, we bought a new stove and it was delivered and it didn't fit in the hole that the old stove was in. So it was kind of cut crooked, almost like a parallelogram was how the, you know, cabinet counter edges were cut. So Josh had to go in and cut those flush with the cabinetry, and then we were able to slide it in. But of course that got sawdust all over the kitchen, and so I had to clean all of that up. But we were just happy that it fit because we were a little concerned. We had bought a stove that then wouldn't fit in our kitchen, and they had already taken our old one away. They left the box, which was really nice. So the kids have cut, well, we cut a door for them and a window, and it was really fun for like a week, and now it's just sort of sitting in my dining room. So it's probably going to go down to the basement today and be a downstairs clubhouse, but it was fun. Like, they enjoyed it, and it's a huge box, so they both can fit in there comfortably and sit. And so they would like sit in there and watch their tablet and stuff. But I'm ready for it to not be taking up half my dining room. And then, sorry, my neighbor's walking down his driveway. Once we got the stove, it is one that has an option for you to run it as a double oven. We haven't done that yet, but it has like an insert thing that's basically like a gigantic air bake cookie sheet that insulates it so you can have 2 different temperatures and have 2 ovens, which is awesome. We're really excited about that. So it's a really nice stove. We're happy to have all working burners again. It has a bridge element, so we do pancakes once a week on Sundays typically, and we have like a big cast iron griddle that we bought a couple of years ago, and so it has like a bridge element is like a piece that is between 2 burners, but you can turn it on and it becomes like one big burner. So it has, then the entire griddle has heat underneath of it to make pancakes. So Josh is now able to make very evenly baked pancakes, and he's enjoying his new toy a lot. And he also is making the most fantastic sourdough. It's so good. So clearly our old oven is crap. And I'm glad that now we don't have an oven that thinks the door's open when it's not and burns everything. Now we have a really nice oven, and yeah, super psyched about that. So, is there anything else for me to tell you? I have not got the prizes out for everybody that won. My deepest apologies. I was working a lot. I actually had to work the weekend, the week before I got sick, and then that next weekend, obviously, I couldn't even get out of bed other than to vomit. So post office wasn't happening. And yeah, today I haven't got to the post office either. But I promise I am going to get everybody's prize packages together today. And then hopefully sometime this week I will be able to get them out to you. For those that won a pattern, I just need to email you your codes. I need to get in touch with S. Kylie Knits, who donated a prize pattern like ages ago, so hopefully she's still okay with giving that out. If not, I'll just buy it from her and I'll gift it to you anyway. And then Coddington was Autumn has the bag that is one of the prizes, so I just have to let her know which of you wins that, and she will mail it on to you. I just haven't done that yet, so it's, again, not her fault, totally my fault. Life gets in the way. But, yeah, hopefully I will get that all sorted out this week, and then the end of March will be the end of Q1 to draw prizes for Stash Your Shelf Challenge 2019. So I hope all of you are knitting from stash or from your shelf or both. And as always, double dipping, triple dipping, whatever is highly encouraged. Whips are allowed. You can look at all of the details for that in the make along thread. I think I'm rambling now, so I'm gonna go and get this whole thing cleaned up and start on some laundry and start working on editing the podcast and getting these sleeves done, because those sleeves are gonna be off my needles this weekend. Gonna be on the yoke. It's gonna happen, guys. Gonna happen. All right, so thank you all for joining me, and until next time, take some time to enjoy doing the things you love, and I will see you in a couple weeks. All right, bye. Hey guys. I'm going out to check the mail, but it's been snowing since like early this morning, and it's so amazing. It's this beautiful, really slow, steady snow. I'd say we have about maybe 2 inches on the ground. Maybe an inch. This is like my favorite kind of snow. The slow, steady falling snow. Very quiet. The road's not quiet, but snow's quiet. And there's really no wind, so yeah, it's just falling straight down. It's beautiful. Once we're not facing the road. Oh my. I can see that our mailbox is wide open. No person didn't even bother to close the flap. Oh my. Alright. There we go. We'll go back towards the picturesque forest. Oh my god. The snow is like all up in my eyes. See, there's my little tracks. I should have put a shawl on. Getting in my nose. There, see? So beautiful. Definitely need to steal Megwin's snow boots more often. They're way warmer than mine. This way. Our baby trees. And there's our forest. Trees. Josh put up a shelter. But clearly it's very weighed down by snow. The river valley is beautiful. I love it here, guys. There we go. Now forest as far as you can see. Miles and miles.